Thank you for joining me. Thank you, Chat Manitors, for your help. I appreciate it. Hi, Glorious E, Carlations, I Schultz. Sorry, Lerado, Shurenzi, Sylvia Strong. Okay, today's Thursday, so those of you who are doing the corporate stuff, you have one more day to go. Hi, Craig Dixon. Having said that, I'm trying to figure out which one is. Let me say this, and then as I go along, I'll say what I wanted to say. I told you guys that Republicans in the House, and I'm sure in the Senate as well, they're going to break into 3 or more parts, and they would vote with Democrats to impeach Trump. Remember I said that? I'm sure you guys heard it's happening. Massey and 10 or 12 other Republicans are putting on, with Democrats are putting together to, do certain things that they need doing. There are certain things both parties need to happen. They are working on it. I was thinking about this. And remember I told you guys it's either Republicans move on, the breakup happens, and some Republicans collaborate with Democrats and impeach Trump, or the Supreme Court being terrified because a lot of people are going to go out and protest and force Republicans to do something, and also with the help of the military as well, because they don't want any force. The Supreme Court, okay? I feel we are watching the beginning of the collaboration between Republicans and Democrats to do something about Trump. Because I was reading a little, it's an article. I don't call that article, but it is an article. It's an article. They were talking about the Trump White House is not taking the last article from the Wall Street Journal seriously. That is not true. Trump is very concerned. And meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell today, Trump wants to do something. And that's part of the reason why Mike Johnson postponed everything. He sent everybody home. You're off. Go enjoy your summer. Okay? That was so that they would have enough time. And I told you guys he was so desperate he'll do anything. Trump, that is. So they could have enough time. They have a few scenarios. I'm talking about DOJ, Trump, and his team. Okay? They have a few scenarios in mind they're going to try to pull. Intuitively, I don't feel it's going to work. If Trump pardons Ghislaine, that won't help him. Because no one, like I believe I said that yesterday, is going to believe he did it out of the goodness of his heart, or because he feels sorry for her. It's because, and the reason is what they are going to be, what the MAGA base is going to assume is true. She wants out of prison, she will say anything. And you know what's going to ensnare, that's going to make things worse for Trump, even if he pardons her, regardless of what he does, intuitively I feel, okay? There are too many people who are aware of what was taking place at Epstein's house. And the notion that Ghislaine thinks she's going to be freed with no problem, she's going to move on with her life, that's not going to happen. And don't be surprised if the victims don't bind together, start a whole new cycle, explaining and recounting their experiences. Among others, who either went to the Trump place, Mar-a-Lago that is, who were invited, who took part in certain activities. Those who took part may not say anything because they don't want to get into trouble. Like I said, I heard on the radio the other day, there were a bunch of underage or people who looked like they were underage at Mar-a-Lago, and they were taking part in activities they had no business taking part in. Intuitively, you want to hear worse than that are going to be coming out. And also something else Trump said, or not Trump, but people around him are saying, if there was any there, Democrats would have released any information that would incriminate Trump and anything. Democrats don't really do that. It's because they're so busy trying to, like their kitchen table stuff, like that's their go-to thing to do to convince people to vote for them. But this day and age, it's not working. This day and age, you have to stand up to Republicans and Trump in order for you to get anywhere. Yes, we all know if Democrats get into power, they're going to work hard to make sure everyone is treated fairly, not Trump. And that's what they're going to have to. They have to stand up to him first. But it's not Democrats' habit of destroying people's reputation. Republicans do that. But now they are learning. They're going to go after Trump. They're not going to let this die on top of other people who are going to be coming out. And the notion that Democrats would have put stuff, would have circulated everything already, their base is not going to believe that either. And to whatever I feel, there's nothing Trump can do to get himself out of this. Even if he, release the files will make it even worse. So now they are basically desperate. So desperate, they're gonna, they're trying to invent things to say to convince people there is no there. And intuitively, and my prediction is they are there, and it's gonna come back to bite all of them. That's my prediction. And there is something else I want to say because throughout the morning, I'm sure some of you have seen those reports of people that Trump, Miller, Vought sent to CICAT, their experiences, how they suffered, beaten, and everything else. There will be accountability, like I told you guys. I mean, I never thought America would send somebody, because CICAT to me is like a prison that they had in Haiti. So many bad things happened there, they had to destroy it. Okay? America is aware of those things. And now they are even open to send American citizens to a prison like CICAT. Trump is a criminal. He's a convicted criminal. He should be sent there to have a taste of his own medicine. But according to reports I've been hearing this morning, those people were tortured. I never thought our government would do something like that. And more America, and he's wondering why he's unpopular. My friends, if you know anyone who's going through this, unfortunately there isn't much more I can do. But tell them to hang on tight, because this is going to change. And everyone, like I said before, who has taken part will pay. Fortunately for them, they will get people to represent them to make a case as to why they did what they did, for whatever reason. But they're not giving that, they're not treating those poor innocent people. The only thing they were guilty of is crossing. I'm not talking about the criminals who crossed the border. I'm talking about people who are looking for asylums or a better life. Okay, their crime was crossing the border. They're gonna pay. But those poor people who are suffering right now, tell them to hang in there. This is not going to last. Americans are good people and fair-minded people. Yes, you have the MAGAs. They enjoy seeing other people suffer. They're just like Trump, because his mom and dad didn't love him, and he's taking out on the country. I just don't understand it, but that's where we are. But Trump, that's why he's suffering. Trust me, my friends, he's suffering from those swollen feet. Among other things he's suffering from, he doesn't have a good life. Okay? Stephen Miller and Vought, they're not happy people. Their turn is coming too. Right now, I feel they both have issues. We simply don't know about them yet. But I don't know. We won't have to send them to the World Court. At the right time, they will be charged in this country and tried. And whatever the sentences will be, because yes, they'll be convicted for doing what they are doing today. Sending all these people to a prison for what? Hang in there. I know it's easy for me sitting here to say it, but and it's going to get worse. Okay, we are all. That's one thing, Americans, those who still trying to, say, well, it's not happening to me. It's not happening to anybody I know. So try to close their eyes. They'll wake up, because we are all at risk. And as Trump already said, he's open to sending Americans there. Just like I told you a while back when he started talking about sending immigrants there, I said, it's not only immigrants, all of us. And they are proving it to us today. And the other thing that's going to sink this regime, they lie, and then they try to convince you, just like that guy from FEMA who went in front of Congress to testify about what happened in Texas, among other things. I'm sure there were other reasons for him to be testifying in Congress. And he's saying they did the best job in Texas, and it's a plan on how they're going to handle future events, disasters, future disasters. And he's saying that's the right way to go, as if we don't know better. They lie to cover their, what up, okay, and then they try to convince us as if we are stupid. My prediction is it's all going to come back to bite them. They are all incompetent. Like I said before, that's what's going to sink this regime. Hang on tight. The other thing is Gabbard, whatever her name is trying to blame Obama. And let me tell you, my friends, things are so bad behind the scenes. She's simply contributing her part, framing some big name, give red meat to the base. Yes, they would jail Obama if there was anything there. It would turn this country upside down. But yes, if there is a way for Trump to send, it's not only him and Garbutt, whatever her name is, to send Obama to prison for anything. Intuitively, I feel they would do it. But it's backfiring on them right now as I speak. Okay? Everyone is calling them out. They are desperate. If it was true that there is no there, they would release the files, black out the names of the innocent, and whoever they want to whoever any name they want to black out, and then release the file. Something is wrong, and they're not going to be able to convince my guys, their supporters, that there is no there. But blaming Obama is a red herring, and it's not going to work. That's my prediction. No matter what they do, they only look stupid. In fact, they're calling Garbutt incompetent, and she is. And the next person I think I mentioned, it's today, Hegseth. I read an article yesterday that all hell is breaking loose at the Pentagon. I'm not surprised. And let me tell you, it does not bode well for Trump's goals to send the military to activate them on American soil to come after us. Civilians, the people, to unleash the military. I'm not quite sure. They call themselves very bright people. I mean, how are you going to convince a troop to go activate them and go kill people? How do they know they're not going to shoot their mom, dad, their brother, sister, or a relative? Where do you think these people came from? The troops, that is. They're Americans. Right now, they are mistreating 40%, the relatives of 40% of the minorities that are in there, because that's who they are sending to seek out. And what they did to Mr. Barranco, who has 3 kids, 3 sons, whose sons were in the military and the Marines. You don't think a lot of people in the military, intuitively I feel, okay, they're thinking, well, if they did that to them, they'll do the same thing to me if they haven't done it already. You can't depend on those troops. That's why I told you guys, my prediction is if Trump does it and ice cross the lines, the guns will be turned on ice. That's how something really bad can happen in this country. I hope it doesn't happen. But I'm only a psychic. They're not going to listen. Just like I told Trump and I told his kids the first time they were in the White House, Trump was going to prison, and it's still on the table. The only reason why Trump didn't go to prison is because of our former AG, Garland. Okay? I'm not quite sure what he was afraid of. If it was Republicans, look at what Bondi is doing, crossing all the red lines. I mean, it's not something that I want, because basically Trump has broken, well, he's broken all of our institutions. Everything, the law, it's the Supreme Court. No laws apply to him, but he's going to find out that the law does apply to him too. It's just taking a little longer, but it's coming. That's my prediction. And yes, he'll be screaming, crying. He didn't do anything. They're all cowards. Watch. And hang on a second, I kept on going, and I didn't check if you guys had questions. I'm looking to see if there are questions. There are a couple of other people who asked me. There are a couple of questions I think I was asked. Okay. That's the first thing I wanted to mention. I mean, if I don't see any questions, let me make sure, and then I'll answer it. There's something I saw. Krista McCracken says, Milou, what happens if he has health event? We have ways of treating sick prisoners. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I can only speak for me. I can't speak for other psychics. It's difficult to tell when somebody's going to die. You can see somebody laying in a hospital bed, ready to take their last breath. You think they're not going to survive overnight if you're doing it intuitively. The person may last another 2 weeks. It's not good for them, their quality of life and everything. But yeah, it's difficult to tell. But intuitively, I'm going to stick with what I told you 6 years ago, 7 years ago. Okay. There is something I may be confusing as well, because a lot of people who are working in the White House right now, they've never experienced the amount of power they have. Okay. And they don't understand, or they're not thinking about what goes up must come down. And if I were anybody around Trump, I would be very careful, because and that's what I feel. A lot of people around him who are worried, are beginning to think about where are they going to live? What are they going to do? You have all these people sent to CCAT. They suffered, humiliated. One of them I heard, I don't know what they hit him with, but he lost half his molars or something like that. Okay? I can tell you, when the people get angry, they go out for revenge. Trump thinks he's taking revenge? Okay. They better start thinking really fast, because when the people stand up and said no more, I've seen it. Well, I wasn't there, but I've seen what caused the videos that I was seeing afterward. Okay, and I'm still watching. Well, I don't watch them anymore because the atrocities are too much. Okay, I'm still up till about maybe 4 or 5 months ago, I was watching some of the videos that were the result of what Vought, Trump, Miller are doing. The only difference is the torturing place is not in this country. They send it outside thinking they're going to escape. They can, so they can have a level of deniability. Yeah. Good luck. They have no idea. But there are going to be consequences. That's all I know. I hope they stop. The more victims they create, the worse it gets. So let's see what happens, my friends. Egg, I was going to say. I told you guys, and I believe that his name is Tim Burchett. He's from Tennessee. He was talking to reporters, and I read it this morning, and I said I had to mention this. He suggested that Republicans might push for a lighter sentence for convicted sex offender Ghislaine Maxwell if they agreed with her upcoming testimony. Intuitively, I feel like saying it's because, all those things, like I've said earlier, they have a few plans, things that they want to do, how they want to handle the situation and give Trump cover. Okay? Burchett saying this is not in a vacuum. And a lot of ideas that you hear that Trump has, among others, it's not the ideas I told you guys a long time ago. A lot of things that Trump was doing was from the guy who was Speaker of the House then. I forget his name. Paul Ryan. Okay, he just dusted off a whole bunch of stuff he said to Trump here, and then it was the policies. The same thing is happening. Okay, the same thing is continuing. So they have people working together, putting a whole bunch of stuff, Project 2025, among other stuff, and they think they're going to get away with it. Let me tell you, intuitively I feel they've already started that bad energy. A lot of them are going to have to leave this country, at least for a few years. Watch. That's my prediction. You don't do these things and get away with it. No. Let's see what happens, my friends. Madden says Garden failed miserably, big time. Okay, but that's the only reason why. It's because he dragged his feet. And here we are. Chef says, if Mr. Orange knows about it, he'll be furious. That episode last night was, oh my God, I don't know which episode you're talking about, but I was watching O'Donnell, which is my favorite go-to, and I watch Jen Psaki as well. But Mado is riveting. Okay. Let's see, let me scroll down. Artist, a Haitian American made a reel. He said fruitcakes attacking Haitians was a huge mistake. He implied voodoo. That's not going to do anything. Yeah. 1 second, he implied voodoo is being used, which is why fruitcake's hands, legs, and belly are swollen. That's not true. No. In fact, I was talking to one of my brothers last night, we were discussing we lost an artist. He died in 1985 at a very young age. He died of AIDS, unfortunately. And poor Haitians, that stuff doesn't work. Poison, they have some, it's not only in Haiti, and a lot of the Caribbean countries that at the time, probably it's still in the 80s, they were doing a lot of research in the Caribbean islands and different places. The type of poison that they have from fish to trees and all kinds of stuff that researchers didn't know in this. And here there is a fish they call carpe or something like that. That's what they use to lower, your oxygen intake if they poison you with it, and they can bury you for there is a limited amount of time. Okay, you don't need that much oxygen, according to what I hear. Okay, so they can make believe you have a funeral and they intern you and everything, and you're done. But that's not true. You're not dead. You simply, it's just like being under anesthesia. And they were doing research with that poison to see if they could use it or how they can use it with surgery and all kinds of stuff. And after that, the people who poison you, they go and get you, okay, because they know you're not dead. So they take you and then so a lot of people suffered brain damage because if they last too long on the ground, but they go and get you and then they put you work on their farms. And that's why people are calling voodoo. That unfortunately for that poor musician, he was a young guy in his 30s. I think early 30s. Okay, he's very famous. He has a couple of songs. I love his songs. I did not know him at the time because I was busy going to school. I couldn't even eat, so I was too busy looking for food and going to school. I didn't know him at the time. I discovered him late. But what Addis is saying, they said they gave him a poisoned mic and they did voodoo after him. No. The poor guy, he died of AIDS. Okay. But I was looking at a video, it's some Haitian video, they're saying, they did voodoo after him. No. The poor guy. I mean, it could have happened to me too. I was in my 20s at the time. I could have died too. You didn't know, you go and mess around with the wrong girl, you're in trouble. A lot of us got lucky in the 70s or 80s. I think it was the 80s when AIDS came out. Yeah, you didn't know. Just like COVID. When it started, we didn't know how it was transmitted. Any one of us could have caught it. It's the same thing with AIDS, unfortunately. You meet the wrong people. If it was your fate, you're done. But they're saying, but now, it's not true, artist. I wish that was true, though. Oh my God, Chef says, Milou, is the episode of South Park, it's about the orange they humiliated him. It was shocking when I saw it. I am not a fan, but it made my mouth drop. I did not see it. I used to watch South Park. I haven't watched it in a long time. But yes, Orange is being humiliated every day. It's really bad. It's because, that's what he does. No matter what you do to him, he makes believe it doesn't bother him. And then he goes, once you turn around the corner, people can see him, he melts down. Yeah. And not enough people have stood up to him. That's the other problem. And if you notice how pliant a lot of those journalists are, because that's who interact with him the most. All he has to do is yell at him and then they just shrink. But if you stand up to him, it's coming. It's a matter of time. A journalist is going to stand up to him. I don't know who's going to do it. That journalist is not going to shrink in front of his box. Or you should be ashamed of yourself. The person, I don't know who's going to do it. But that's one humiliation he will suffer. Yep. Carrie G says, will J.D. Vance stay married? No. There is so much, or they live in separate places. She can't stand him. She hates his guts. I don't see how that, and also, after this is over, Vance's life is not going to be the same. Oh my God, this guy's going to need some intensive therapy. Because a lot of things that, he can't understand how come he's vice president and people hate his guts. Just like Trump. Okay? They go out and say stupid things and they think people are going to love. That doesn't happen. They're going to come after you. Okay. Let me see. Marine says, artist, I know for a fact about Haiti, which doctors. Oh, I used to visit Haiti on many cruises. They are up in the mountains there. Oh yeah, there are people, medicine, just like here in this country. The natives. And just like in India too, they have a whole bunch of, they're familiar with different types of herbs that can be good for you. But some of that stuff can kill you too. You gotta be careful. All right. I think this is it, friends. Christine Drinkwater says, hey, Milou, do you know if the media will be able to film Trump kicking and screaming so we can all have a good laugh? I don't know at what stage, but yes, we'll see some of his meltdown and he looks stupid. He's looking dumb already anyway. Thanks for all the good work My friends, God bless. God bless you too. Thank you for your support. Oh yeah. I mean, things are so bad. You know, it like when I was listening, when I was reading this morning about that young guy, the way they beat him up at CCOT, and that president, whatever his name is, the cool dictator he calls himself, he too will suffer the consequences. Yeah. What is happening today, my friend, it's not going to go away overnight. No. This is asking, is Vance's marriage on the rack? Absolutely. I've said that before. He abuses her all the time. You know something? Vance couldn't get anyone else. Okay? I mean, she's an attractive and very smart lady. But he didn't, you know, he had no choice, so he took a woman of color. When you are an interracial marriage, I'm sorry, you got to have a pretty strong personality and know who you are. I use updated, you know, interracially. I don't care, white, black. I don't have a tree to shake to say, okay, I want a black one or I want a white one. If she likes me, I like her, fine with me. But let me tell you, you got to have a strong personality and be able to stand up, because some people think they can, you know, and, you know, a couple of ladies that I dated, they were very attractive. I went someplace once. A guy says, how come a beautiful woman like that, what is she doing with you? I was wearing a suit. And I am sure, you know, a software engineer wearing a suit, he thought I was lesser than him. I just looked at him, you know, from head to toe, and I kept on walking. And at that time, it's not now, I was no small guy. I'm not fat. But I didn't get involved in any violence. I just looked at him and we left. Yeah, people will attack you. You got to be able to stand up. So yeah. Okay. This is asking, why is she with him? Unfortunately, I mean, this is a very sensitive subject. Okay, and people of all, you know, origin, whether from India, Hispanics, you know, even some Haitians too, you know. I mean, some people, they marry interracially because they have love for one another. But some people, they focus on one thing, you know. It feels like to me she would have, because that's the way I get her. And not because she couldn't do better than Vance. Don't take me wrong. She's a beautiful woman and she's very smart. Okay? Don't take me wrong. But it feels like to me some minority women, I mean minority guys too, don't get me wrong, everybody, they think if they marry someone, you know, of a different race, they can fare better or better for their kids. Yeah, and it's not only in this country, okay? In my country too. I was talking to one of my brothers that was sharing, you know, even in my family, not this generation, but 2 generations back. Yeah, because we're mixed. And on my dad's side, mostly it was more prevalent than in my mom's side. Okay. If you marry somebody who's lighter, your kids would have a better chance. Yeah. So I'm not going to tell you something. It happened to everybody. I feel that's what happened to her. She felt like it would be a step up for herself and for her kids. You know, that's what I feel. But he doesn't treat her very well. No. And in fact, I said that months ago, and there's a picture like either last week, a couple of weeks ago that came out. And you can see it in her face. I mean, I'm not bad-mouthing her, okay? Don't get me wrong, and I'm not saying, you know. But since you guys asked me, I'm just being honest. I'm not going to lie to you. If you don't, although I should have shut up. That's what I should have done. Okay, everyone, thank you. Did I get myself in trouble? Please let me know. Because I've been I'm being very honest. sometimes it's not the best policy. Thank you, everyone, for spending time with me. Thank you, chat monitors, for your help. I appreciate it. And also, please, if you don't see me in your feed, please look for me, because YouTube, I mean, it's system limitation. They cannot promote or add the people you usually watch on your feed all the time. And it has to do with, they give other creators a chance and show you different, videos from different creators, okay? So, and see if you like, a variety, okay? So if you don't see me in your feed, please do a search for me. I was thinking this the other day that I should put a little video together on how to use the search box, okay, on the main page, so you can find me. So that's why if you don't see me, and it happens in my thing to some people when I don't see them, or because most of the time I look at the news online now, and I don't have any more astrologers. The person I usually watch is Andre, and there is another person, I forget his name. But when I don't see them, if I need to look at something, or I'll just search for them, because they're not going to come into my feed all the time. Because sometimes I go into looking for cars. Like this week, I'm looking for tires. Review for tires, car tires, because I have to buy 2. So what's going to be in my feed, besides a couple of other subjects, a bunch of tires, people doing tire reviews. Hi, Jojo Taro. Have a good afternoon. So if you don't see me, please search for me. If you like the channel, please subscribe if you are not a subscriber. And also don't forget to tap on the notification bell. If you would like a reading from me, the link to my website is below the video, psychicmilou.com, or please feel free to call me or text me on my YouTube number. We will negotiate a time that's good for both of us to talk. Please give me a thumbs up, friends. Don't forget, the thumbs up is very important. And also, please don't forget to tell your friends about the channel, because I'm having some difficulties with, besides what I told you, how I realize how the algorithm works. There are other things I don't understand everything about it. So tell your friends about the channel to keep me going, to keep the channel going. All right, everyone, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll come back later if there is any major news. I doubt it, but you never know with Trump. Till then, bye.